Let me tell you something, ladies. Men don't miss you just because you want them to. Men miss you when you move differently. They miss you when you stop giving away everything for free. Your time, your attention, your energy. If you want a man to miss you like crazy, you've got to follow a few silent rules that speak louder than anything you could ever say. The first rule is mystery. See, men love discovery. When he already knows your every move, your every thought, there's nothing left for him to chase. You've got to keep a little part of you for yourself. Don't always be available. Don't always be the one texting first. Don't always be the one running to his call. Pull back just enough to remind him that you've got a life of your own, and he'll start craving the space he no longer has unlimited access to. Ladies, let me break something down for you, because this is where a lot of women mess up. If you want a man to miss you like crazy, you can't just say it. You can't just ask for it. You've got to move a certain way. Men are wired to chase. Men are wired to wonder. Men are wired to work for what they value. And when everything is handed to us too quickly, too easily, we don't have that sense of urgency, that feeling of, I can't let this one slip away. If you want a man to really miss you, you've got to understand the power of mystery. When a man feels like he already knows everything about you, every thought, every move, every detail of your life, you take away his curiosity. And once curiosity is gone, so is that hunger to come closer, to lean in, to pursue. But when you keep a little piece of yourself to yourself, when you don't give him access to all of your time, when you don't let him predict every step you take, you keep him on his toes. He starts wondering, what is she doing right now? Who's she with? How come she didn't text me back yet? That wonder makes him crave you more, because you've left him with something to figure out. Now, I'm not telling you to play games, but I am telling you to stop being predictable. Predictability makes people comfortable, and comfort can kill excitement. You want him to wake up and think, man, I need to see her. I need to know what she's up to. That's how you build anticipation. That's how you make room for him to miss you. And it all starts with you choosing not to give him unlimited access. You don't need to be available every single time he calls. You don't need to respond to every message right away. Because the moment he feels like he's got you wrapped up, the moment he feels like you're just waiting around for him, that's the moment he stops missing you. But when you have your own rhythm, your own schedule, your own life moving forward with or without him, that's when he realizes, she doesn't need me, and I could lose her if I don't step up. See, men value what they think they could lose. If he knows you'll always bend, always adjust, always compromise, then he doesn't fear your absence. But when you stand strong in your standards, when you show him that your time and attention have worth, he begins to see being in your life as something special. And that's when missing you kicks in. It's not just about the time apart. It's about the feeling he has when you're not around. He starts to feel the gap because he knows he doesn't automatically own your presence. And let me tell you something else. Silence is powerful. A lot of women think they need to explain every move, every feeling, every decision. But sometimes silence makes a stronger impact than words ever could. When a man expects an argument, expects drama, and instead you give him calm confidence, that silence stays in his mind. He's thinking about it long after. He wonders what you're thinking. He replays it in his head, and that quiet space becomes a magnet pulling him back. Silence can make him miss you in a way talking never will. But the most important thing is this: live your life. Don't sit by the phone waiting for him to validate you. Don't let your happiness depend on whether or not he shows up. Go after your dreams, spend time with your people, invest in your passions, and build yourself. A woman who is full, who is glowing from her own joy, is a woman a man cannot get out of his head. He'll miss the energy you carry, the way you light up a room, the way you move with or without him. Because deep down, he knows that kind of woman is rare. And if he doesn't appreciate it, someone else will. That's when missing you becomes real. Now, let me take you deeper into this, because if you really want a man to miss you, you've got to understand how his mind works. Men are hunters by nature. We're wired to chase, to earn, to feel like we've accomplished something. When something comes too easy, we don't put the same value on it. That's why your value is the biggest card you hold in this game. When you truly understand your worth and you carry yourself like a prize, a man will think about you differently. He will notice your absence. He will feel the weight of not having you around because your presence is not something he can just take for granted. When a woman doesn't recognize her own worth, she ends up overgiving. She gives too much of her time, too much of her energy, too much of her attention, hoping that he'll see how much she cares. But the truth is, the more you give without him earning it, the less he appreciates it. That's not because he's a bad man. That's just how men are wired. We don't value what comes without effort. Think about it. If you hand a man a trophy without him ever playing the game, it doesn't mean much. But if he's worked for it, fought for it, struggled for it, that trophy is priceless. That's how your time, your love, your presence should feel to him. Something he knows he had to earn, and something he knows he could lose if he doesn't handle it right. A man misses a woman who holds her ground. If you don't fold under pressure, if you don't compromise your standards just to keep him happy, he begins to see you in a different light. He knows you respect yourself, and that makes him respect you more. Respect is what fuels desire, and desire is what makes him miss you. When he knows he can't just do anything he wants and still keep you, when he knows you will walk away if he doesn't step up, that's when the thought of losing you starts to bother him. That's when your absence hits different. See, ladies, you've got to stop trying to prove your worth to a man. Your worth isn't something you prove. It's something you show in how you carry yourself. If you're constantly available, constantly forgiving, constantly doing more than he does, you're teaching him that he doesn't have to miss you because you'll always be there. But when you make it clear through your actions that your presence is not guaranteed, he will feel that space every single time you're not around. He'll think about how good it feels when you're there, and he'll miss it when you're gone. Men pay attention when you pull back. That's not about playing games. That's about balance. If he's the only one receiving and you're the only one giving, he never learns how to invest. When you step back and let him do the work, he realizes what it takes to keep you. And he'll start valuing you more. That's when he'll miss your laugh, your voice, your touch, because he knows it's not promised unless he's willing to give effort. The truth is, the most powerful thing you can do is show him that you're valuable with or without him. That doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself first. And that self-respect will make him see you as rare, something he doesn't want to lose. A man misses the woman who knows her worth because deep down, he knows that kind of woman doesn't wait around for anyone. Let me tell you something a lot of women don't realize. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say nothing at all. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to making a man miss you. Most people think they need to talk everything out, explain everything, argue every point, defend every decision. But a man doesn't miss you when you're constantly in his ear. He misses you when your absence leaves space, when your quiet makes him think, when your restraint makes him wonder. Silence, when used wisely, makes a man sit with himself and reflect in ways your words never could. See, men are used to noise. We expect the back and forth, the questions, the explanations. When you break that cycle and give him calm instead of chaos, peace instead of pressure, it throws him off balance. He starts noticing the difference. That silence echoes in his head, and he starts replaying the things you didn't say. He begins to ask himself questions. Why isn't she reacting? Why isn't she chasing me? Why isn't she blowing up my phone? That curiosity is what fuels the feeling of missing you. Silence also teaches him that you are not desperate for his attention. A lot of times, women think constant communication proves love, but to a man it can feel like demand. When you can pull back and be quiet, you're sending a different message. You're showing him you're in control of yourself. You're not depending on him to validate your emotions, and you're not afraid to let him sit in his own thoughts. That makes him miss your presence even more, because now he realizes you don't need to fight for him. You're willing to let him come to you. And let's be real, men don't always process things quickly. Sometimes he needs that silence to recognize your worth. When you stop talking, he starts listening in his own head. He remembers the sound of your laugh, the comfort of your voice, the way you fill a room. Silence creates contrast. Without it, he can't appreciate your sound, your energy, your vibe. But when you give him space to feel your absence, he starts craving it again. Now, don't get me wrong. Silence doesn't mean ignoring him. It doesn't mean shutting down completely. It means choosing your moments. It means knowing when words won't make a difference and when stepping back will say more. A woman who can master her silence is a woman a man can't forget because she's unpredictable. He can't measure her reactions. He can't control her energy, and that mystery makes her unforgettable. Think about it when you argue, when you defend, when you explain. He tunes out half the time. But when you pull back and give him nothing but calm, he notices every detail. He feels that shift. And that quiet is what follows him when you're not there. He'll be sitting at work, driving in his car, lying in bed, and he'll remember the way you didn't respond, the way you didn't chase. That memory alone makes him miss you because he realizes he's not in control. Men miss what they can't predict. If he always knows how you'll respond, he never has to think about it. But when you use silence, he's left with uncertainty, and uncertainty keeps his mind on you. He'll wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you might do next. And that wondering keeps you present in his thoughts, even when you're not there. Your silence is not weakness. It's power. It's discipline. It's a reminder that you don't need to waste your energy proving a point. You already know your value. And when you know your value, you don't need to fight for recognition. You let silence do the work for you. That is what makes a man miss you like crazy, because in that silence, he feels the loss of your presence more deeply than he ever would through words. One of the biggest mistakes women make is putting their whole life on hold for a man. They start waiting by the phone, canceling plans, dropping dreams, just so they can be available when he calls. And then later they wonder why he doesn't miss them. The truth is simple. How can he miss you when you've made yourself too easy to reach, too easy to access, too easy to predict? If you want a man to miss you like crazy, you've got to keep living your life. You've got to show him that your world keeps spinning whether he's there or not. A man is attracted to a woman who has her own goals, her own passions, her own independence. That's because men respect what they cannot control. When you're busy chasing your dreams, building your career, spending time with your friends and family, investing in your hobbies, you're sending him a strong message without saying a word. You're not waiting around for him to complete you. You are already whole. And let me tell you something, that's the kind of woman a man loses sleep over. That's the kind of woman he thinks about when she's not around, because she has a life that's bigger than him. When a woman puts all of her energy into a man, he feels it at first, but eventually it becomes background noise. It stops feeling special. But when she divides her energy, some for him, some for herself, some for her dreams, he starts realizing that time with her is not something he can just assume he'll always get. He starts recognizing that she's moving forward regardless. And if he wants to be part of her world, he's got to put in effort. That's when missing you becomes real for him, because he knows you won't stop your life to chase him. And don't think living your life means trying to prove a point. It's not about making him jealous or showing off. It's about genuinely being fulfilled. When you're happy, when you're laughing, when you're glowing from the inside out, he can't ignore it. He'll notice that energy even when you're not around. He'll think about the way you light up a room, the way you carry yourself, the way you don't depend on him for every ounce of joy. That independence is magnetic. It draws him in because it's rare. Men don't miss women who wait around for them. Men miss women who are hard to replace. And what makes you hard to replace is the fact that you have a life that is rich and meaningful without him. You've got ambition, you've got dreams, you've got purpose. That's what makes him want to be part of your journey, not just the center of your attention. He starts wondering where you are, what you're doing, and more importantly, who's lucky enough to be around you when he's not. That thought alone keeps you on his mind. So keep going out with your friends, keep pursuing that business idea, keep traveling, learning, growing, smiling, and chasing after what makes you happy. The more you live, the more he feels the gap when you're not there. The less you revolve around him, the more he revolves around you. That's how the dynamic shifts. And that's how you make a man miss you like crazy. Not by waiting for him, but by making sure your life is so full that he realizes he needs to step up if he wants to be part of it. When it comes to making a man miss you, consistency and self-respect is everything. You can't send mixed signals about who you are and what you stand for. A man pays attention not just to what you say, but to how you carry yourself over time. If one day you hold strong boundaries and the next day you bend just to keep his attention, he doesn't really believe you. He sees the cracks. But when you are consistent in how you value yourself, when you don't let your standards slip depending on how much you like him or how much you fear losing him, that's when he really feels it. That consistency makes him realize you mean business. The truth is, men notice patterns. We may act like we don't, but we do. If you always pick up on the first ring, if you always drop your plans, if you always say yes, no matter what, that pattern tells him you'll always be there. And when a man believes you'll always be there, he doesn't miss you because he never fears losing you. But when you break that pattern by holding your ground, when you say no to what doesn't align with your values, when you keep your priorities in order and don't let him knock you off balance, he starts to feel that shift. He begins to see that your approval isn't automatic. He has to earn it. And that makes him crave it. A woman who respects herself sets the tone for how a man treats her. If you let him slide with half effort, he'll give you half effort. If you let him take without giving back, he'll keep on taking. But when you make it clear, not through shouting or fighting, but through consistency, that you expect effort, respect, and real intention, he has no choice but to step up. And when he can't be around you, he'll miss the way you made him rise higher. He'll miss the way you challenged him without saying a word. That's the kind of absence that lingers. Men don't miss what's easy. Men miss what makes them better. If being with you pushes him to think differently, act differently, grow differently, then when you're not there, he feels that emptiness. He feels the difference between being with a woman who accepts less and being with a woman who demands more through her standards. That gap is what keeps him thinking about you, because deep down, every man wants to know he's doing enough. And when you're consistent with your self-respect, he can't ever get comfortable enough to take you for granted. It's easy in the beginning to set boundaries, but the real test is staying consistent over time. Some women start out strong, but when emotions get involved, they start making excuses. They start lowering the bar. That's when a man knows he can get away with more. But if you can hold steady, if you can keep your value clear, no matter how much you care, then he knows he's dealing with someone rare. And rare is what a man misses. Rare is what keeps him up at night thinking, if I lose her, I won't find another like her. Your consistency is what teaches him the difference between being with a woman who settles and a woman who won't. That lesson doesn't leave him when you're gone. It sticks. And the longer you hold that line, the more his mind attaches your presence to respect, value, and high standards. That's why when you're not around, he doesn't just miss your laugh or your smile. He misses the way you made him feel about himself. He misses the way you made him work harder, think sharper, and be better. And that's a void no one else can fill. Space creates desire. It's one of the oldest truths about relationships, but it's the one most people struggle with. See, when you're constantly up under somebody, when you're always there, always reachable, always available, it leaves no room for them to realize how much you matter. People only truly appreciate what they have when they feel the risk of losing it. That's why distance is so powerful. It gives him the chance to notice the emptiness that comes with your absence. It makes him realize that your presence is not just comfortable, it's essential. The problem is a lot of women think closeness equals connection. They think if they just stay near him, if they're always checking in, always showing love, he'll feel secure and love them more. But what usually happens is the opposite. The more he gets used to you being there all the time, the more he takes it for granted, it stops feeling special. It becomes routine. And routine does not create desire. Desire comes from space, from anticipation, from the unknown. Think about it like this. If you eat your favorite meal every single day, after a while you stop craving it. You know it'll be there tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. But if you only get it once in a while, if it's something you have to wait for, you look forward to it, you savor it, you appreciate every single bite. That's how men are with your presence. If he knows he can have it whenever he wants without effort, it loses value. But when he feels the gap, when he has to wait, when he doesn't always know if he's got your attention on lock, he starts to miss it. He starts to crave it. Now, giving space doesn't mean disappearing or playing cold. It means balancing closeness with distance. It means knowing when to lean in and when to step back. When you give him the room to wonder what you're doing, to wonder why you didn't text back right away, to wonder why you didn't drop everything for him, that wondering grows into longing. Men miss what they can't control, and space is what reminds him he doesn't own you. And let me tell you something else. See, distance tests his effort. If he really wants you, space won't push him away. It'll pull him closer. The men who aren't serious will fall off when you stop giving them constant attention. But the men who value you will feel that gap and move toward you to fill it. That's how you know who's really invested. Space separates the ones who are just hanging around from the ones who truly want to be there. The beautiful thing about space is it also gives you time to grow, to recharge, to live your own life. When you're not glued to him, you've got energy to pour into yourself, your goals, your friends, your passions. And the more full your life is, the more magnetic you become. That fullness is what he misses because it shines every time he's with you. He notices how happy, confident, and grounded you are. And when you're not there, he feels the loss of that light. A man misses a woman most when he realizes her presence is not a guarantee. When you give space, you create that realization. You remind him that your time, your love, your energy are gifts, not obligations. He feels the silence, the distance, the pause. And in that pause, he starts to reflect. He thinks about how he feels when you're around, and he compares it to how he feels when you're not. That contrast is what makes missing you hit deep. Space makes him chase. Space makes him wonder. Space makes him realize he doesn't just want you there. He needs you there. That's the power of stepping back. That's how you create desire that doesn't fade, a longing that sticks, and a love that doesn't take you for granted.